Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Hamilton County Board of Election, February the 12th, 2024. Calling to order a special meeting, and it's about 8:32, and proper notice has been given as required under the Ohio Revised Code 121.22. I'd like to begin first with the Pledge of Allegiance, and if we can have somebody who's serving our country or has served it to lead us in the pledge, please. And always thank you for serving our country. Today's meeting is, we're going to discuss the November 2023 General Election Anomaly Report regarding the Mount Airy Garden Rehabilitation and Nursing Center. And we called the meeting together today because we received a letter on February the 7th. Do you want to read that letter, or should I read it?
Sure. Yes, Madam Chair, I can go ahead and just sort of get us up to speed. In the last board meeting, the board had voted to issue subpoenas to the 7 witnesses involved in the Mount Airy Gardens voting incident. Staff did that. Those subpoenas were served on January 25th. On February 7th, so last Wednesday, we received a letter from the prosecutor's office that is in your file folder requesting that the board suspend the hearing that was originally scheduled for February 20th and that no witness testify before the board pending the completion of the investigation by the prosecutor's office. And that has what led us to schedule the meeting this morning.
Okay, any discussion?
So we issued, what, 6 subpoenas? Or
7.
7 subpoenas?
7.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and kick us off. I know that, in the spirit of compromise last time, we had agreed to do this here. And frankly, I didn't know this letter was coming until we received it. But the fact of the matter is we do have it. The letter is suggesting that there's already an open criminal investigation, and that any further action by us would potentially impede such an investigation. I'll also remind our board, I think maybe all of you may remember, that the Sheriff's Department had originally gotten involved in this even before we did, and they had taken some action, some limited action, as I recall. Sherry, am I right about that, that the Sheriff's Office had done something on this?
They had, I think they reviewed the documents that were sent to the prosecutor's office, and the deputy director and I met with them.
Okay, very good. And that was before we issued our subpoenas, right?
That's correct.
Anyway, so with all that, I'll go ahead and just move that we vacate or set aside the 7 subpoenas, and the letter suggests that we can resume our investigation if, in fact, the prosecutor's office does not bring criminal charges. So my motion is that we just vacate the 7 subpoenas and let the prosecutor's office do its investigation.
Okay, any more discussion?
Second. You made it as a motion, right?
Yes, that was a motion.
I
Yes.
second.
Any more discussion?
Yeah, I have a little bit to say. In the history of this board, when we have subpoenaed individuals to come, I don't recall, and somebody can refresh my memory, I don't recall where the prosecutor has jumped in front of our process and asked us not to do what is the process that we've been operating under. It was mentioned about the sheriff being involved, and we were puzzled how the sheriff even got, looped in to even get to the point for investigation, because our normal process is if we do something as a board, we refer it to the prosecutor's office. In this situation, we determined that we were going to issue subpoenas from the board to bring them in so we can investigate it, so we can have some due process. It's kind of curious that the prosecutor, out of all the subpoenas that get issued, knows about this one, and it comes up to the top of her list to ask us to stand down and that she's going to proceed with potential criminal investigation. And I just felt like our process, and Alex just mentioned that, if she decides, or the prosecutor decides that they do not want to file any criminal charges, then come back to us, It's like, that ship has sailed. Once she takes us out of the process, I'm not in favor of coming back to us. If she doesn't find anything, I think it's a moot point. So that's my 2 cents.
I'll chime in and say, yeah, if they make a decision and aren't criminal charges, I won't prejudge it, but I don't know what else we would do at that point, so I don't know that I disagree with you. Anyway.
Well, I have, I've struggled with this since we received the letter. So I have done a little investigation myself, trying to help me understand how our process was not adhered to. And so I'd like to speak for the record and say I am concerned and disappointed that the prosecutor has overstepped this board's statutory authority to investigate election anomalies. Historically, the prosecutor has always deferred to this body's process before initiating any kind of criminal investigation. So on February the 2nd, we received a letter stating what Ms. Poland had indicated, but also they were going to open an investigation into voter intimidation and coercion. And I want it to be clear, the board has not received any complaints of intimidation or coercion relating to the incident in the Mount Airy Gardens nursing home. From my perspective, such an investigation is not warranted and premature. I know it is a political season, and the prosecutor is running for re-election, but usurping the Board of Elections' investigatory authority to open what appears to be a politically motivated investigation, from my perspective, is inappropriate. The Hamilton County Board of Election has a process in place, which we know, where we can investigate any situation that appears to be any election irregularity and, if necessary, refer it to the prosecutor. That's the way it's been since I've been on this board as well. As far as I'm aware, the prosecutor has always allowed this board to conduct its process and not interfere with our statutory responsibilities. So I went up and I looked into the board's roles and responsibilities with the Board of Election, and irregularity that we looked at, when you look at Ohio Revised Code 3501.11 Category J, states, investigate irregularities or violations of Title 3.5 of the Revised Code by election officers and other persons, administer oaths, issue subpoenas, summon witnesses, and compel the production of books, papers, records, and other evidence in connection with any such investigation, and then report the facts to the prosecuting attorney and or the Secretary of State. At no time have we requested the prosecutor to intervene in this case. And this reflects to me a political move by the prosecutor versus allowing we as a board to adhere and follow the process to which our bipartisan board agreed. It is critical that as a board we cannot and shall not allow politics to run our process of being open, fair, and transparent. At present, we have no evidence of voter intimidation, so we have made no report to the Office of the Prosecutor. And I'd also like to add, our election workers take great pride in their jobs and endeavor to exhibit the most professional integrity as they run and manage our elections here in Hamilton County. It is a shame that the prosecutor has decided that their work as well is irrelevant. This is a dangerous precedent that threatens the integrity of our bipartisan process here at the Board of Election. I will vote to rescind the subpoena because of the prosecutor's interference in our investigation. Leaves me no choice, but the investigation is now in process. And I took time, I thought about this, I struggled with it, and those are my thoughts, and I'd just like that to be on record.
Well, of course, I need to respond. First of all, the language is hyperbole primarily, in my view, with all respect. I think that the board is tasked with reviewing irregularities. That word appears in almost all the directives in the law that we've talked about. What's alleged here can go beyond irregularities. The prosecutor is obligated to investigate criminal behavior. As I pointed out during my remarks, The sheriff's office originally went down this path. I'll point out that the sheriff is also up for election this year, happens to be in the other political party for what that's worth, but the sheriff's office began an investigation that ultimately was halted because of what this board had been doing. Ultimately, though, to allege that this is political is interesting when the political game being played here was by the Democrats in that nursing home that had passed out a Democrat sample ballot only to residents. That's highly concerning. It should be concerning to the general public that a vulnerable population like the elderly folks in that facility were being subjected to only one worldview. That's dangerous. It's dangerous and undermines the process of voting. Now, we were inclined to have conduct a hearing here, but to the extent that there is criminal behavior happening, that's outside of our purview. I'll also point out that had we brought witnesses here, I'm concerned ultimately about their Fifth Amendment privileges, whether or not we would have been properly within our role to explain to them the right to remain silent, whether we would have, compelling their testimony by subpoena, could have invoked Miranda protections that we're not, we're just not equipped to deal with those things. Well, a couple of us on the board may be lawyers. We have a lawyer. It's not what we do. This is what the prosecutor's office does. I don't think there's anything political about this. I think the prosecutor's office is engaging in what they think is a fair look at the abuse of a suspect in a vulnerable population. So I just disagree. I intend to vote for the motion nonetheless. Thank you.
And I just have one response. If we recall, we have no idea why the sheriff even got involved, because it was never a request by we, the Board of Election. Once we found that out and discovered that, we objected to it, and they were backed out because they followed the process that they knew that we were accustomed to doing. And so it didn't matter who was running, because we knew that we were doing the right thing when they circumvented and we found out that they were involved. I don't even know why they were involved in the first place.
I have nothing further. Thank you.
Ready for the vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? We have no choice. The vote carries. Thank you. Thank you. Need a motion to adjourn? Anything else? Any more discussion?
I'll move to adjourn.
Thank you.
I second that.
Thank you. The meeting is adjourned.
All those in favor?
Favor?
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.